Jason Griffith is without a doubt one of the perfect voices for Sonic, as he seems to fit the character the most for me personally. From Sonic X all the way to Sonic and the Black Knight, I thought Sonic's voice and character peaked during the Dark Age. Unfortunately though, since his debut, many people hated his voice as they thought he was trying way too hard to copy or sound like Ryan Drummond, which I kind of understand within the context of Sonic X anyway, but I feel like most people missed the point of Sonic's voice direction during that time. Jason's Sonic, believe it or not, was the progression of the character growing up from an immature kid to someone more mature, which was probably the most interesting take on Sonic, dare I say the best. The reason I like Jason's voice as Sonic the most is mainly because he had a lot more variety in his personality. Probably going to get a lot of flack for this, and that's fine, but I felt that Ryan and Roger's take on Sonic was a bit one-noted. When I hear Ryan's Sonic, I hear a lot of his immature side, filled with his snarky responses and attitude, while with Roger's Sonic, I hear more of his humor side, filled with one-liners and puns. I am aware that both of these actors have shown more expressions in their games, but for me personally, I just don't feel too invested in their scenes, as it seems forced and off-putting. Jason, on the other hand, whenever he expresses a different side of Sonic, checks out in every box. He lands Sonic's attitude, humor, and emotional moments within each game he's in, even at his worst. It's almost the same reason why I like Sean Schimmel's take on Goku in Dragon Ball, as they share the same similarities. In terms of the dub feel anyway, I think Sean Schimmel is one of the best ones out there. Within every line he says, you feel the amount of effort Sean puts into the character, whether he makes Goku sound playful or serious. There have been different depictions of how Goku is represented, and while some are pretty good, there are some scenes in which I thought they could do a lot better. Sean just happens to get it right with me every time, and Jason is the exact same way. To an extent, Jason's Sonic reminds me a lot of Sean Schimmel's Goku, in which they would both do whatever it takes to achieve the impossible, whether it was being the best, protecting their friends and families, or the world. Which could also be another reason why I find Jason's depiction of Sonic cooler than the other actors. When he delivers, you can feel a lot more energy and emotion coming from the character.
Shara, will you grant me one more wish? I wish for a mountain of handkerchiefs. Now, just let yourself cry, as much as you need to. You'll have plenty of handkerchiefs to help you through it.
While I do think he was great within every game he was in, I think he was at his absolute best during Sonic and the Secret Rings, all the way up to Sonic and the Black Knight. I would count Sonic 06, but the weird cutscenes took me out from taking them seriously. But in-game though, I thought he was pretty good. I like Jason's performances in Secret Rings for his humor and attitude, Unleashed for his mellow and friendly nature, and Black Knight for his heroicness. Within these games, you will see all of the different sides of him that gravitates you to liking Sonic a lot more than ever. There's a clear reason why we go back and rewatch Sonic during this time. Ryan Drummond was definitely the blueprint, but Jason Griffith definitely carried the torch to shape Sonic to what we love about him today. We should have appreciated him more while he was around, instead of hating him. Roger Craig Smith's Sonic was the voice I hated hearing for a long time, mainly because he replaced one of my favorite voice actors, Jason Griffith, who I thought perfected Sonic's voice. Right when Jason's voice started to get really good, he got replaced by Roger Craig Smith. From someone who sounds cool and almost close to Sean Schimmel, to someone who sounds more like Odd from Kole Yoko, but more annoying.
Your little party with other people's planets is over!
Relax, I'm totally cool. Trust me, you'll see you won't even know I'm there.
Over time, as my ignorance towards Roger started to fade at Sonic Boom 8's debut, I came to find out that I didn't really hate Roger's voice, but more so the direction that Sega and the writers wanted Sonic's voice and character to go, which to me was a step back. Throughout the adventure games to Unleashed, I felt that Sonic's character was progressing. Each game seemed like he was growing up to someone more mature, and I loved that direction they were originally going for. But then Sonic Colors came out and it ruined everything. We get a Sonic that isn't taking situations very seriously, trying way too hard to be funny, and being completely immature. It was like a night and day difference from Unleashed to Colors, almost if they were like two different characters from like a different universe or something. But much like I stated earlier, it's not Roger's fault why Sonic became the way he was in the Meta era. When Sonic Colors came out, Sega decided to go into a completely new direction for the franchise. From an era filled with passion with that cinematic feeling in mind, to an era filled with less passion with storytelling of a Saturday morning cartoon. This didn't help Roger in the slightest to stand out from the other Sonic voice actors, as I think the bad writing held him back. There's other things that Roger was involved in besides Sonic anyway, where I thought he was really good. It's clear as day that if Roger is given a good script, he would have the potential to be good. Sonic Boom, Wreck-It Ralph, and even LEGO Dimensions for example have shown us that he can be a good Sonic voice actor, but the meta era of Sonic games failed to show us that. But then Sonic Frontiers came out, and honestly I was quite shocked by the new direction of his voice. It's actually pretty good. It's not perfect and certainly not my favorite Sonic voice, but it's a great step in the right direction compared to what we got in the meta era. This is where Sonic's voice and character needed to be after Unleashed or Black Knight, as this seems more of a progression of his character. Sonic actually sounds cool to listen to. He's actually more mature than before, and for once he's actually really funny and not corny.
What is your end goal?
It varies. Sometimes it's a spinning sign, sometimes it's a big old ring.
This is because the writing for this game is actually not too shabby. It's not too safe, immature, or bland. Instead, it actually tries to tell an interesting story to keep you invested in the characters and the game, filled with heartwarming interactions, emotional scenes, and cinematic moments. Something I felt that the Sonic franchise always needed and were missing for quite a while. I missed Sonic being mature, I missed his interactions with other characters, and I missed those emotional and cinematic cutscenes. In a nutshell, I missed when the Sonic franchise took itself seriously. Not too serious like Shadow the Hedgehog, but fair enough to invest in like the adventure games or Unleashed. It feels like Sonic Frontiers was slowly bringing that vibe back. Any game could be good, but if the story or the characters aren't that interesting, it won't keep me invested to care for very long, and I'll just end up forgetting most of it. It's the reason why I love Sonic Unleashed, the adventure games, and now Sonic Frontiers, as they managed to present a great story and characters to invest in, while at the same time being a great game. But most importantly, it has also made me respect and appreciate Roger a lot more as Sonic. From someone who I couldn't stand since his debut, as I didn't think he represented him quite well, to someone I can now safely say that he can. Roger Craig Smith is definitely one of those underappreciated Sonic voice actors that can honestly deserve some more love.
All right! Our next adventure awaits us, so there's no time to waste. Yeah! We're Sonic Heroes! What goes up must...
If Jason Griffith never had the opportunity to voice the Blue Blur, Ryan Drummond, who happens to be everyone's favorite Sonic voice actor, would have also been my favorite Sonic voice actor. Prior to Ryan Drummond voicing the character, there were other voice actors who played the role of Sonic, like Jaleel White or Martin Burke. But personally, I think they didn't capture the spirit of the character just yet. Ryan Drummond, on the other hand, does exactly that, as he lays the foundation of what Sonic is supposed to sound and be. A free-willed hedgehog who seeks out fun and adventure, who also has the conscious mind of doing what's right, while at the same time having all the attributes of being a teenager. Ryan's voice fits perfectly for the character, but I also have some issues with his performance that makes me prefer Jason a lot more. In my Jason video, I said that Ryan was a bit one-note for me. He's not as bad as Roger was in the Meta era, in which Sega seemed to forget who Sonic was, but he does lack the ability to express himself in different scenarios. With an Adventure 1 to Heroes, the only thing that stood out to me in Ryan's performance was that he was really good at showcasing Sonic as an immature teenager, expressing himself as, again, a free-willed hedgehog who seeks out fun and adventure, while also having an attitude with his snarky responses and whatnot. However, he fails at expressing Sonic in different ways, such as being emotional, mellow, and humorous, for example. When he does try to express Sonic in different ways, It either leads to his delivery falling flat or being forced at times.
You're right, my friend. So here we go. To the end! Watch out! You're gonna crash! Ah!
Just made it.
Too bad it's all over for you.
If I had to guess, I don't think he had much time to deliver his lines compared to the other voice actors. Going back to these games, it seemed like they only took 1 or 2 takes of dialogue before moving on to the next thing, while Jason and Roger, on the other hand, seem to have taken more time to deliver their lines to their perfection. Sometimes, though, it's really not Ryan's fault, as most of the time, the game he stars in can ambush his work, either having things too loud to hear his dialogue, or having characters accidentally talk over him.
What you see is what you get. Just a guy that loves adventure. I'm Sonic the Hedgehog. Just the best way to greet those who haven't seen in a while. Come and get some, Eggman. This looks like checkmate, Doctor. I'm not done with you yet.
You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
These things make it extremely difficult to enjoy his work, and instead, kills the experience for me. Many people would consider Sonic Heroes as his best work, which technically is, but I feel like if he was given one more game, Shadow the Hedgehog to be exact, I think he would have finally reached his peak and full potential as Sonic, as the game not only doesn't seem to ambush anyone's work, but the voice actors in this game also seem to have more time to deliver their lines to their perfection, but that's just me. Despite all the criticism, I still think Ryan is still one of the top 3 best Sonic voice actors out there, with second place going to Junichi, and obviously Jason being at number 1. While again, he does lay the foundation of what Sonic is supposed to be, as time went on, we will see tiny cracks in his performance that I stated earlier, but it's not all that bad. Again, I think if he was given more time to improve as Sonic, he would have definitely been ranked a lot higher. But since his time as Sonic was cut short, we're left with what is being presented to us instead of what it could have been. While he's not my favorite Sonic voice actor, I still think he's pretty decent in his own right, as I think again, he was the first actor to feel the spirit of what it's like to be Sonic.